With Ninjago's 15-year anniversary just around the corner, I wanted to build the biggest Monastery of Spinjitzu mock to celebrate the occasion. And now, after almost a year of building, a lot of trial and error, I have finally finished the Monastery of Spinjitzu. There is so much to unpack about this monastery, so I want to start off by actually assembling it so that you guys can see how the monastery is broken up and how it all comes together. I also want to mention when approaching the build for the monastery, I took inspiration from all iterations of the monastery, with the exterior of the monastery being heavily inspired by everything pre-Dragon's Rising, while the courtyard and interior is inspired from everything post-Masters of Spinjitzu. We're going to start off here at the main entrance first. Using arches, slopes, and curved slopes, I was able to come up with a design for the top of the gate that I'm pretty happy with. The doors are built using plates. I did not make the dragon design on the doors since it proved to be a little difficult, but it is something I want to revisit. We have a small portion of the stairway that is paved, which then transitions into the stairway that is carved into the mountain. Moving on to the walls themselves, they are pretty simple, using a simple brick stacking technique to build them. I use brackets for the red framing of the walls to add some more depth to them and not make them look so flat. I could have also used snot bricks as well, but I found the brackets to be more effective. Because the walls are their own separate builds, there are some awkward gaps between them. I used the cherry blossom trees to cover up the gaps for the front of the monastery. The place where the walls in the monastery sit are also tiled so that they can just lay on the base pretty easily, being supported only by a couple jumper plates. Like I mentioned, since all the walls are their own separate unit, there is another small gap between the outer walls and the main structure of the monastery. This, however, isn't masked by anything, seeing that it is less noticeable than the other gap. The first little Easter egg of the build that I have is also seen outside the walls of the monastery, with a little great devourer hiding out, waiting to bite Garmadon. The tiling for the roof of the outer walls do have a slightly different style to them as opposed to the main roof of the monastery. I did make the roof on both sides of the wall because in the show the roof is more one-sided. I also added some studs on the ridge of the roof so that I can put minifigures on them. Moving on to the roof of the actual monastery, I gotta say I think I did a pretty decent job. It does lack that curve that the roof in the show has, but I am still happy how this version turned out. It was one of the things that was stressing me out when it came to actually building the thing. The part that was most stressful was the part of the monastery where the side structures start to angle. Making sure that the roof is flush at those intersections took a lot of trial and error. It is often difficult to work with such angles, but in the end I closed the gaps pretty well and got a lot closer than I thought I could. Now here are the walls of the back of the monastery. It's the same as the stuff in the front, but this time the red framing extends on all four sides. The middle section doesn't have any windows because ideally this is where the elevator to the underground base would be. It would be masked with more mountain that would stick out even more. This is something that will be added in the future. The monastery also has windows, which is actually something you don't see in the show. They simply don't exist, which doesn't make sense because when you're looking from the inside out, there are clearly windows in the rooms of the ninja. Moving up, we have the tower of the monastery. Coming up with circle framing for both sections at this scale was difficult, seeing that making round shapes is another challenging thing when it comes to building with Lego. But using some brackets and wedge plates, I was able to create something fairly circular. The flags attached are brick built. The middle section does have an interior, while the uppermost one does not. The roof design also continues all the way to the top, and at the very top I added this gold detail that I kinda tried loosely shaping it like a source dragon symbol. I thought it was a good in-between with the two different designs that we have. Now before we move on to the inside of the monastery, I want to give you guys a closer look at the courtyard and the base of the actual monastery. From the inside, the walls are unchanged, and I unfortunately do not have the murals that we see in season 10. It is another thing that I want to add but also expand on by including a mural for everything pre-Dragon's Rising. Near the entrance we have the button used to bring forth the training course, and near the edges of the wall I wanted to add some foliage given that the monastery has been around for a while now, so little weeds are going to start sticking out. This is also a design element that was introduced with Dragon's Rising, and I wanted to add it to give the courtyard a little more life. Here is a better look at what the base looks like with everything removed. The pattern for the courtyard is something I also went back and forth on. From the beginning I knew I wanted the dragon design to be golden, but in terms of shape and colors is where I struggled. The colors I ultimately went for were tan, dark tan, and medium nougat. I could have used wedge plates to make the pattern on the floor more accurate to the show, but I do like the small gaps the round tiles created between them that just gave it more texture. Here is a closer look at the dragon design. Getting those curves using the angled tiles was another challenge, but I think I was able to get a pretty good curve out of them. If I were to alter one thing about this part of the build, I would probably just make the dragon slightly bigger, but I think its scale is still really good. Here is the part of the base where the monastery lays on top of. I used the gray tiles as outline so that you can't see all the pretty colors I used underneath. I also didn't tile the whole surface area because that would have just been more expensive. The amount of tiles I have supplies all the support I need. Similarly, this is what the tile work for where the outer walls sit on the actual base looks like. Alongside that, you can also see more of the details I tried adding to the mountaintop. In the front, you can see more of the mountain sticking out. There are 3 bins located out here for trash, compost, and recycling, and the left side doesn't really hold anything. And the other side of the base is nearly identical. The placing of some of the green plates and the plant pieces is the differentiating factor. Here is a closer look at how I built the cherry blossom trees. I added the trees here again to cover up some of the gaps, but also because I knew I wasn't going to be able to add the main cherry blossom tree that is located slightly below the monastery. This was just a nice way to incorporate that. Each tree is unique in its own design and aren't the same. This one has an added branch to it. It is also slightly thicker than the other one. The tree on the opposite side is much thinner, and one of the branches is actually on a slight angle. This is actually accomplished by building a small portion of the trunk with round bricks. Next up is the fountain. This is a design element that is brought in from the monastery post-merge. It is something that when I saw in the show, I knew I just have to have it in my own monastery. The water uses the same technique as seen in the Ninjago city sets, with a couple of plants and lily pads floating around. I used some Pixal joints to get the nice round shape of the fountain, although I think that using plates with bar handles and clips would have also had the same effect. Pixal joints was simply just what I had on me. When it came to the dragon, the number one most important thing was making sure that it was completely made out of gold Lego parts. What really brought everything together for me was the Dragon's Rising dragon head mold in gold. It was rather difficult to create a fully golden brick built dragon head that I would be satisfied with. Granted, the head mold isn't the most accurate, but the whole statue I think still captures the look of the show. We looked at what the inside of the courtyard looks like when you are at the monastery, so here is now the opposite side if you were to come in through the main gate. Here is a better look at one of the halves of the monastery's base. This is the larger of the two, seeing that this side holds the actual monastery. This side is also much heavier than the other. The second half is smaller and much lighter than the other half. The idea to cut the whole thing in half also came about much later. It got to the point where trying to carry the whole thing around as one entire unit got really awkward and super heavy, hence why I ended up splitting it. Finishing off the exterior before moving on to the interior, we have the porch area of the monastery. This area is typically barren, but I wanted to populate it with various artifacts and references to the show and other pieces of media. This top-down view gives you a better look at the actual width of the porch. Due to the nature of the angles of the monastery, the porches on the sides are actually one stud shorter than the porch of the middle structure. The first little pile of artifacts we have are a crystal ball, a crate full of wands, some sort of potion, a random golden artifact, and the Tesseract from Marvel. The next thing I have is the gramophone that Master Wu uses in the flashback we have of Jay and Nia in Dragon's Rising Season 2. The gramophone was a nice fun little build trying to get in this scale. It is a little flimsy, but I think I was still able to capture all the necessary details needed to show that this is a gramophone. The next pile has more crystals, a shell, a couple of crates, and a golden teapot that could or could not be the teapot of Tyron. Here are more crates, another crystal, a piece of amber that has a mosquito in it, and a dark red gauntlet. I also put the shrine of Master Wu that Lloyd put up post-merge. We have a couple of candles on either side as well as Wu's meditation carpet. At one point I might change out the plates for tiles instead to actually create a carpet pattern. I also have the chicken with electric powers roaming around. This was the chicken that Wu used to torment the ninja in their training. This other pile has more crates, a sack, a couple of more crystals, the soul stone, and a prismatic lamp. I do want to show as well that the sliding doors do open and close. These ones and the ones inside are not official Lego pieces. They are made out of paper and the framing on each one was drawn in with a marker. Moving on to the interior, the first room we have is located in the middle tower of the monastery, and it is Wu's study. Outside of Wu's study, there is a small hallway to get in. I figured to put Wu's study here because this middle tower wasn't really being used and there is a suggestion that you can actually walk in it. The room itself is slightly larger in length and width than all the other rooms other than the main living room. In the center of the room, I have a carpet covering most of the floor. On top of it, I have a table that holds the original ninja scroll with a custom sticker that I bought. In front of that, there is another desk with a letter, and surrounding the center table are shelves that hold books and scrolls. The books are all plates that are stacked on their side, and the scrolls use the Monkey Kid hilt pieces, also using the round tile piece with a bar on either side. The shelves closest to the desk also hold some paintings as well, 2 on either side. These are also the only shelves that actually hold any scrolls. And for each room that we go into, I wanted to share a picture of a minifigure actually living in the space. So here is Wu in his study. The library is of course accessible to the minifigures from the interior of the monastery. There are stairs that connect to the hallway from earlier. Here's what the hallway looks like with the tower in place. A part of the stairs are connected to the interior framing of the roof and go all the way down to the first floor of the monastery. The stairs are also identical on both sides but mirrored. And here's a quick overview of the entire interior of the monastery, a nice top-down view of all the rooms and the hallways and how all of it interconnects with one another. The second room we will look at, and also the largest room, is the living room area. Before removing the roof skeletons, I do have some lanterns hanging down from them that you would not see otherwise. Diving in a little closer, there are a bunch of little details scattered around the room. The space is filled with 3 purple couches that have some food and video game controllers that the ninja have left behind. On the coffee table, we see a newspaper, teacup, and more video game controllers. Behind the couches to the left is a shuriken stuck on the support post because the ninja always be throwing around them shurikens all the time, and to the side of it is a pool table. The design of the pool table is also similar to the one that is seen in the Ninjago City Market set. On the opposite side of that, there are also more artifacts and trinkets. We have a silver ball, another crystal, the globe, a vase, and Zane's original blueprints. On either side of the entrance to the living room area, I also have these stickers as decor. This other wall holds a plant on either corner of the room, darts, a TV, and the speakers for the TV. On the TV cabinet, you can also see a controller and a VHS tape. And here are a couple of images of the ninja in the living room playing some video games and just hanging out. Similarly to the sliding doors outside, all the sliding doors on the inside also open and close. Here is the view of a minifigure coming into the room. I also really quick want to show you the main entrance, which all does open and close as well. Then walking into the monastery, you have a wall that separates the main entrance to the living room, creating 2 hallways. You of course would have to go around the wall to get into the living room. We are then going to make our way to the left, and here is a quick look at what the roof looks like with all of its panels removed and how it all looks structured from the inside. There are a couple of little details hidden, like a spider web and a rat. The rat being a nod to Mistake, who did transform into a rat in Hunted. And here is just a top-down view of what the monastery looks like inside when it is connected. A small portion of the kitchen countertop is on the middle section of the building, on that alongside with the fridge. On top of this portion of the counter, there's also a blender. There's also a water dispenser on this side. And here's just a quick side view of what the hallways look like. I do want to showcase the fridge a little bit here because it does open and fit some stuff inside. The whole back part of the fridge alongside its shelves can be removed and replaced. This is so that you can fit a minifigure to recreate that classic Zane in the fridge scene. And before people start writing in the comments, I know, the fridge isn't red. I will admit it was a detail I forgot about when I was building it, and it's something I just have not gotten around to fix. Regardless of which, I am content with it because the biggest thing for me was making it a functioning fridge while still fitting Zane in it. Looking down the hallway and making our way to the right, we have the stairs that also work as storage for the water jugs. We've also got the dining table as well. On top of it we have some plates and drinks. The drinks are a reference to Cole's Snock Fruit Punch back in season 1. Just behind that we have the hallway leading to all of the rooms. To the side of that we start to get into the kitchen. On the wall we have the pantry that holds various items such as sauces, condiments, canned tuna, and much more. Next to it the ninja have a full-on freezer completely separate to the fridge. I did this because there was just no way I'd be able to include the freezer in the fridge, so I decided to build them as separate things. Moving on from that we have a hanging rack, the sink, the stove, cabinets, and the microwave. On the counter space we have various items, most notably the pancakes, which are a reference to Asphira's and Woo's pancake flipping contest back in Crystallized. I also have my attempt at making a minifigure scale rice cooker, and this is a better look at the entire space overall. Here is a picture of Zane walking around in the hallway, and one of him in the kitchen getting ready to prepare something. We also have Cole, Jay, and Woo enjoying a meal together. Before we head into the rooms, I do want to show off all the tiles I have hung up on the walls. Everything you see hanging is a sticker or a printed piece from Ninjago sets, whether they are from the Ninjago TV show or from the movie sets. I hung up stuff that would make sense to have up on a wall. Some of these are subject to change as we get more stickers and printed pieces in the future. I also might look into seeing if I could get some custom printed tiles. I am also going to be showing you the hallways from the other side of the monastery. A lot of these stickers and tiles are hung in very specific spots, while others aren't. And going off of that, I already do need to change the location of some of them. There is also a possibility that instead of replacing anything, I could always just add more to it. Picture of Lloyd and Cole walking down one of the hallways. The first bedroom we are going to have a look at is going to be Cole's. On the left we have a drawer that on top of it holds the blade cup and a Cole statue that Gio made for him. I figured since Gio likes to do a bunch of sculptures, he made one for Cole. In the center we have of course his bed, and to the right of that is going to be a corner desk and a chair. Next to the desk he has a massive dumbbell, and next to the entrance he has his hammer and a crate underneath that. Overall, not a whole lot of stuff in Cole's room. It is definitely a room I want to explore more in, adding more details. And here we have Cole reminiscing about the time the ninja entered that talent show to win the Blade Cup. Right next to Cole's room is going to be Jay's bedroom. On the left side of his room is going to be Jay's bed, with a drawer on either side and at the end of the bed. Right now would be a good time to mention that all of the beds are built the same, but the colors are swapped to correspond with each ninja. Above his bed is a model of his Stormfighter, a classic vehicle that he used to have, and to the right of his bed is a teddy bear that is supposed to represent his favorite plush, Mr. Cuddlywomp. Jay also has a model train displayed, since he does also collect model trains. Here is a closer look at how the model train was built, since this was another one of those things that was a little challenging to get down to minifigure scale. On the opposite side we have a bunch of different trinkets. We have a banner of Fritz Donegan, a Starfarer comic, an action figure, some roller skates, a game controller, a poster, and a picture of Nia. Jay, I would say, is also a little disorganized, hence why he has some chopsticks laying around underneath where his weapon is mounted. And of course, here is a picture of Jay in his room, just looking at all the cool stuff that he's got. Following Jay, we have Nia's bedroom. A lot of the details in her room are pulled straight from the show, such as the alarm clock, TV, and the sword in the wall. I also thought it'd be funny if I had the sword poking out all the way through into Jay's room. This of course was a little detail that was shown in Seabound. Moving over to the left side of the room, there is of course her bed, a poster, a little plant, and another weapon on top of a drawer. I also displayed her original Samurai X helmet as a memento she has held onto this whole time. And unlike the rest of the ninja, Nia does have two separate spears mounted up on her wall. And then here's a picture of Nia looking back at what once was. The next bedroom is going to be Master Woo's. Instead of a bed, Woo does sport a tatami mat. In the center of his room, Woo does have his incense that he uses to meditate. Right in front of him, he has a little cabinet with a teacup on top and a stopwatch. The stopwatch being the same stopwatch he had during Hands of Time when he was waiting for a Chronix. And then to the right of that, he also has a few staffs mounted up. And the picture I took of Woo is him meditating in his room. Next to Woo's room is a very small cleaning closet where the ninja can prep a mop to mop the floors of the monastery. The next room we will look at is the weapons room. In it, of course, there are an assortment of weapons. I decided to display the dragon bone blade and the dragon armor in here, seeing that it is something that Woo has kept around from Hunted into Crystallized. and probably still might have to this day. In the center I have the golden weapons on display, which is similar to how they were displayed when a young Wu and Garmadon lived in the monastery. And don't mind the Scythe of Quakes, I am constantly changing what the Scythe of Quakes looks like since there are so many ways that you could go about it. On the opposite side there are more weapons, and these are more reminiscent of weapons the ninja have actually used in the past. I also wanted to add the kendo armor, seeing that that is something the ninja have used in the past. And then here we have Kai just looking at the golden weapons, wondering if he is going to become the green ninja. The room next to that is the ninja's laundry room. To the left there is a rack that has a torso for each ninja, plus a throwback to Zane's pinky as well. Underneath that are some tiles that represent some folded pants. To the right of that is the washing machine and the dryer as well. Above that is another rack that holds some of the half mask pieces as well. All of the colors are colors that the ninja have all worn. To the right of that there is an iron and an ironing board, and a shelf that holds various ninja masks that we have seen throughout the years. Here is a better look at what the masks are on the shelf. I did try to display one different one for each ninja. The last room on this side of the monastery is going to be the bathroom. The bathroom does have a private stall where the toilet resides. There are only 2 bathrooms in the entire monastery that are shared between so many people, so I wanted the bathrooms to still be used by making the toilet isolated like that. Next to that is the bathtub, which also serves as their shower. The curtain for the bathtub is made out of paper, but I will eventually change the material to something else. And opposite to all that is the trash can, counter, and sink. The mirror is an official Lego mirror sticker, so that was a nice little detail I was able to add. The bathroom on either side is exactly the same, just mirrored. So here's what the bathroom from the other side looks like. And here we have a picture of Kai enjoying a nice bath with no water. We are now going to make our way to the other side of the monastery. Here is another quick look at what the roof looks like with all of its panels removed. It is exactly the same as the other side, just mirrored. There are a couple of more hidden details like the other side. We have another spider web, and more importantly there is a crystal spider that is spying over the ninja. This is of course being a direct reference to Crystallized and the crystal spiders that Harumi uses. Before we start looking into the bedrooms, there is the same space that was on the other side of the monastery, but this time occupied by other things. On this side there are crates of various fruits that Arin uses to make his pies, and another side look at the center hallways. Here's what this wall looks like with everything attached. Looking down the hallways and moving over to the left is Arin's oven. The oven of course does open up and you can put a pie inside of it. This was a fun little build to kind of figure out how to make as well. Right behind that is Arin's porch bench that was left behind after the merge. On it is a micro doll Lloyd figure that is supposed to resemble that little plush he was given in season 3. There is also a punching bag, more crates and artifacts, some miscellaneous vehicle parts, and a workbench for Sora. Here is a closer look at all the various parts that Sora has over here, and a closer look at the workbench. Here are a couple pictures of Arin and Sora living in the space. As you may have noticed, all of this in the show would actually be found in the living room, but due to spacing issues and having this empty space, I moved all of that out here and gave them a bedroom as well, which we will look at in just a second. The first bedroom we are going to look at on the opposite side of the monastery is Pixal's room. On her wall she just has 2 golden katanas, and right next to that is her bed. I tried my best to copy the headboard she has in the show. The only detail I am missing is a painting that hangs on it. That would help bring the whole thing together, seeing that it does look a little plain right now. Pixal also has a drawer and a desk with a computer on it that she uses when she is not down below in their secret base. I also thought it would make sense for her to have this picture of Zane and his falcon hanging on her wall. And then the picture I have of Pixal is of her working on her computer. And of course the bedroom next to hers is going to be Zane's bedroom. Zane of course has his shurikens mounted up on the wall. He also has the same cabinet that Wu has in his room. Zane also has a picture of his father, Dr. Julian, hanging from the wall. In the center is his bed, and on either side are some drawers and banners that are actually straight from his apartment that is found in the Ninjago City workshop set. To the left of all of that, on another drawer, is a blueprint for the falcon. And on the wall is another picture, but this time of him and Pixal. The picture I took of Zane is just of him looking at that falcon blueprint. Continuing on, next to Zane's bedroom is Lloyd's bedroom. Starting here on the left side are a couple of drawers and a plant. On one of the drawers there is a letter that could be from a certain person from his past. In the drawer right next to his bed, he of course has a teacup, trying to follow in his uncle's footsteps. On the opposite side there is another drawer and a trash bin. On the other drawer there is a piece of candy, which is a callback to the pillow mint he had in Seabound and the time where he would try to steal all the candy he could as a kid. He of course also has his golden dowel mounted, and right next to that is a desk with a couple of shelves that hold some various items. And here I have Lloyd waking up from another one of those visions he has been having. Right next to Lloyd's bedroom is Kai's bedroom. Kai also has his weapon mounted on the wall like the rest of the ninja. His bed resides right next to that and also has drawers on either sides. The corner ones have his hairbrush and hair gel, and above all of that some added decor. At the end of the bed is his not destroyed bonsai tree that was introduced in the mini comic Kai's Monstrous Journey. Opposite of that are more drawers, an action figure, and some scissors he uses to cut his hair. I also added a full-length mirror for Kai. When I saw this Lego piece, I just knew that Kai needed to have this in his bedroom. I also just find this piece really cool because it is an official working Lego mirror. The picture I took of Kai of course had to be of him combing his hair in front of his mirror. Next to Kai's bedroom is a storage closet where they have some cleaning chemicals, extra toilet paper, rakes, brooms, a shovel, etc, etc. Across from Kai's room is a blacksmith's room. The room was carried over from the March of the Oni Monastery, where Kai reforged the golden weapons. This is the only room that has two entrances for safety reasons. On the wall there are a couple of tools as well as a small fountain to cool down whatever Kai is forging. Opposite of that is of course the anvil that he uses, the actual forge, and a grindstone. The forge is similar to the one seen in the Tournament Temple City set. The vent for it does extend all the way up and out of the roof, hence why there is that chimney on the roof. And here is a picture of Kai reforging the Sword of Fire. And the last bedroom we will be looking at is Arin and Sora's room. Within the room you're going to find a nice cute little picture of Arin and Ryu, as well as the green mask Arin picks up post-merge from Lloyd. Next to that is a poster of the Ninjago Megmaster 5000. Underneath that is another crate, a desk with various items on it, and a trash bin. Some of the items on the desk pertain to Sora, others to Arin. There is also a magnifying glass hanging from the wall, something Arin holds onto dearly since his whole family is really into detective stuff. Then you also have a bag and a pie poster. I also found it fitting to give Arin and Sora a bunk bed if they are going to share a room, similarly to the room they actually do share in the Ninjago City Market set. Like I also mentioned earlier, their room is technically the living room, but because of space and having the extra room here, I made it their room. And then here is a picture of Arin, Sora, and Ryu in the room. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Monastery of Spinjitzu. You may have noticed that I did not talk about the training course, but I can assure you that that is still something being constructed. The idea is to be able to swap between both eras of the training course. I will post either another small video or short when that is all said and done. I am also still open to developing the actual mock itself, adding or changing certain things about it. So if you guys have any suggestions, make sure to leave your thoughts down below. I also wanted to show a quick comparison to the actual Monastery of Spinjitzu set. The mock really is a massive upscaled version of the set, and I really do think I was able to capture a lot of the key features of the monastery. Next up, since we actually do see this bounty on occasion next to the monastery in the show, I also wanted to put my bounty mock next to my monastery mock. I really do think that the scale that I have been building at really works between the two, and it's just really cool to see both of them together. Lastly, I wanted to share with y'all what I have coming up. I'm finishing up the final details on the Borg store, so expect that video to come out soon. And if you haven't already, make sure to check out the Chen's Noodle House mock video. And after the Borg store is all said and done, I am going to build one more Ninjago City building. Right now I'm still trying to figure out what I actually want to build with the given space. I am leaning more towards Grand Sensei Dareth's Mojo Dojo, But another possibility could be Mistake's Tea Shop or Laffy's Karaoke. It might actually end up being Laffy's Karaoke, but make sure to leave a comment down below on what you guys want to see. Having said all that, I wanted to give a huge thanks to all of y'all who made it all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate y'all's support, and I really hope you guys enjoyed the Monastery Spinjitzu mock. As of right now, I don't really have any intentions of creating any instructions for the Monastery, but if this video does garner enough support, I might actually consider it and provide you guys with some instructions. So make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share this video with a friend, and I will see you all in the next one. Taco out.